I'm very well now.
How's the baobab juice business?
Now we have lots of things to talk about.
We do, don't we?
I like you. Don't start. I like you.
Oh, but why? We were really enjoying it. You remember the baobab juice?
And there was with ginger, there was with lemon, there was with...
We are still in business. You want me to explain?
Oh no, we're just inquiring about. What did you ever give it a name?
Yes, I did.
What's it called?
I won't say it on radio. It's not been registered.
Oh, okay. All right. Just take it easy. We would also like to say a very big, super ganganton congratulations to our panelist guest girl on the show, Gloria Kisei. In case you're wondering where she's been, she has given us a very, very beautiful bouncing baby.
That's wonderful.
The baby is fine, Papa.
Yes.
Hey, shh.
Yep.
Sweet baby.
Yes. And we're thankful to God,
yeah,
for bringing her through it.
Yes,
and all of
yes,
that.
yes, yes, yes.
Amazeballs. Totally amazeballs.
Okay.
It's how the kids say amazing,
Okay, I did not know that.
Amazeballs.
Okay, great.
Which could, okay.
I think we should just stop it right here.
Yes.
Right? So congratulations, Gloria. We love you so much. Kisses to baby. Right. So ladies, today on the show we're going to be talking about one of those topics that is seemingly controversial. We're going to be talking about keeping communications with your ex. Talking to your ex, being their friend, having conversations about various things while you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about today, ladies. 0244340437. Is having conversations with your ex a bad move? Question. Let us know what you think. 0244340437. Send your messages in. Now, before we start, I think we should ask Wecha to give us an opening quote. Because did you know that nowadays, Wecha writes poetry?
And should you say nowadays now?
Okay, well, I'm new to it.
Me for 10 years.
Okay, so nowadays, Wecha publishes
her poetry. Exactly. So, Wecha, we would like an opening quote.
You ladies are just mean.
Oh, are you kidding?
Sister supporting.
I shut him up. Oh my God. So, we would like an opening quote. If you don't tell us what, I'll read one. From your page.
Please give us.
Why are we laughing?
There was one that I commented on, which was really good. Do you remember which one that was? Okay.
Why is she so excited?
I don't know.
Let's move on.
You give us so I should read one.
No, just
okay.
Why are you
so
doing
every 20 minutes we shall read one quote from Wecha. Wecha's love posts. But they're really, really nice.
Yes, they are.
Thank you, Now. Thank you. Can you say that again?
They're really, really nice.
Yes,
I like them. Every time I read them, it puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, when I was younger, I wanted to be a writer.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I'm just 30 is bringing out new things out of me.
Oh, by the way, someone turned 30 recently.
Oh, that's
Yeah, there's a lot happening in Wecha's life.
Belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So, even without the love code, we'll begin the conversation about our exes. The question is it a bad move to keep having conversations or communicating with your ex while in a relationship? No, we can't kill them.
Right, okay.
So what do you think? Is it a good thing? Bad thing?
Oh wow. I think that there are many different issues here. There's some exes and in that situation, communication is necessary. So, for example, if you're divorced and you have kids, or if you were with someone and you have kids, then communication becomes absolutely necessary because you're raising kids together or you're doing, that kind of thing together. And so that's. I don't know if you want to talk about that because navigating that is quite different.
Okay, so not just communication, but having a friendship. So, like you and them, you don't just talk about the things that has to be talked about, like I'm picking up the kids at 2:00, but you have a friendship and you talk, you chat, like before maybe.
I wouldn't. I don't think that having a friendship with someone that you've been with before is is good for your emotional and mental health.
Why?
Unless, of course, I think it's been, maybe it was a very long time ago. For example, I'm friends with, let's say, my first boyfriend. This was maybe 17 years ago, 16 years ago. He's moved on, he's married, he has kids. I've moved on, I've gone through things, and stuff. And so we can communicate on a certain level. Are we like buddies? No, because I think that there's this quote which says that if you can be friends with your ex, then it's either you never loved them at all or you still love them. And if you never loved them at all and they never loved you at all, then it's kind of a good mix to be in, because you're kind of at the same place. But a lot of times with exes, you find that there's one partner that's hoping for more. Otherwise, really, why would it be so difficult to move on, especially depending on how you broke up?
Because all is forgiven. So,
but is it really? Is it really now? For example, if you were with someone who maybe continuously cheated on you, who hurt you, who broke your heart, how do you then move on and become friends? How do you become friends with somebody who hurt you in that way? How do you place value on that? Unless, of course,
if you're in a new friendship or in a new relationship, then it does suggest that you have forgiven them of.
But if you've forgiven them, is reconciliation necessary? Does forgiveness necessarily have to come with we must be friends? I can forgive you. It doesn't mean that I have to be friends. And once there's that need, I need to have you in my life, then it suggests that perhaps there's something more. Because otherwise, really, when and you see, the thing about the exes that really scare me is that there's a certain level of comfortability that you have with them. And now you're trying to forge this new relationship. So when this new relationship gets tough, it is very easy to fall back into the familiar. And so you find that if you haven't really developed your social intelligence skills, what happens is that it becomes more difficult to be vulnerable to this new person. And so it's easy to fall back on the old. And so you never really, have the chance to really make this work, because essentially you're emotionally involved with two people.
Okay. So you're saying that it's not possible to be in a relationship with one person who you're currently with and still have a simple friendship with an ex because of what you've shared in the past and the probability that you can fall back in that relationship with them.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying that for me, it's not a wise thing to do.
Okay.
If you really want to move on. If, however, you're hoping to get back with your ex, then studies have shown that keeping the lines of communication open are good, because, then you have a chance to, bond over new things. They're seeing a new side of you. You're kind of still getting to know each other. But the risk with that is that maybe one person wants it, the other person does. It's so muddy. You know what I mean? It's so muddy now.
Okay, Wecha, what do you think?
I think everything she said, is something that I agree with. It's not as simple as yes or no, be friends with your ex or not.
Okay.
But as to what is the intention of the friendship, you have to look at it too. Do you still have you have something with them? How was the relationship like? And also for self-respect, for me, if you've left somebody, the reason why it's a breakup is because it's broken. There was something that was wrong. So you just keep calm and leave the other person. It doesn't mean you've stopped liking the person. It just means it was broken, and then you have to move on. We have to look forward than looking back and keeping the communication lines open. It would eventually affect the person you are with, because it would eventually affect the person you're with. Because if you're with somebody who finds out that you're still communicating with your ex, the ex that you loved, an ex that you may have slept with, and you are in that communication lines with that person, I mean, it would definitely affect the new person you are with. Even if, no matter how platonic it is, how simple it is, it means you're not protecting the person that you are with. In my opinion, it means you're not protecting the person. And even research has said that people who keep communication with their ex a lot is because maybe they're not satisfied with their current relationship.
Is that right?
Yes. So it means maybe they are not satisfied with the current relationship. As Inima said, they've built some bond with the old person. And building a bond is difficult to tear apart. If you don't make a conscious effort to tear apart, you go back chatting, how are you doing? Like these little things that creates more bond. So it's not an easy yes or no, but it's a difficult situation to put your future partner in.
Yeah.
Wow.
I agree.
Now, Wecha, you always like to refer to the Bible when you talk about relationships. So let me ask you from the biblical point of view. I mean, you know how the Bible advises that we forgive and forget, and all of that. So if you're in a relationship with someone that ends in a bad way, and you forgive them and forget, and you've moved on, and you're with someone else, isn't it the Christian thing to do, and even a sign that you have actually moved on from this person, if you're able to keep a godly relationship with them? A godly friendship.
The Bible
with them.
said we should be friends with everybody, and we should make peace.
Yes.
God blesses a peacemaker.
Yeah.
But then, forgiveness does not mean friendship. We are trying to protect ourselves and trying to protect our emotions. When you move on, you move on. You don't try to hold on to the people who eventually hurt you enough to move on.
Maybe they didn't hurt you. Maybe you hurt them.
No, maybe it was a consensus. But I'm trying to remember a scripture in the Bible that says, you leave the old. Even the Bible says when you are moving forward, you should move forward and leave the old. And that is the old. You get what I mean?
I think that if we're going to be realistic, when you've had something with someone and you've shared parts of yourself and parts of your soul and parts of your body and all of that with them, and it ends, it's like a wound. And every time you go back, it's like you keep picking at it and you keep picking at it, and you need it to heal. And the funny thing is, even when you have a wound and it heals, the scar remains. And I remember that sometimes when it got really cold, you feel things that you feel have healed. For example, I broke my wrist a few years ago, and every time it gets really cold, if I'm outside of the country and it gets really cold, my hand hurts, my wrist hurts. And what I'm trying to say is that when something has hurt you, you've forgiven and you've moved on, but under certain conditions, that pain can come back. You know what I mean? If, for example, you were with someone, and I'm going to go back to the cheating thing because that's one of the most painful things that can happen to you. If you're with someone and they cheated on you, you can forgive and move on, but there will be moments in talking to them, in looking at them, when it will cross your mind. Was I not enough? What did I do wrong? We're human, you know what I mean? It will come back. So like Rachel said, it becomes about protecting your energy, protecting your healing, and even to some extent, protecting the forgiveness that you've given them by not exposing yourself to them. Regardless of whether they've changed, they've given their lives to Jesus, praise the Lord, hallelujah. There's all of that. But our memories are powerful things. And so what is there is there. And so to protect yourself, and you said that sometimes being able to cultivate a friendship is an indication that you've moved on, but being able to cultivate a friendship, is that an indication of how much you love yourself, or is that do I need to prove to you that I've moved on, and so therefore I am your friend? The most important thing is that I have moved on, that I accept that you were a part of my life, that moving forward you are not a part of my life. You know what I mean? I may be able to come to you for advice on and things that you specialize in. If I wanted to make baobab juice and you were my ex, fine, we keep the lines of communication open. But it's not like every day, oh hi, good morning, what's up? Oh, I'm doing this, or I'm doing this, and then you're suddenly embroiled in all of this. I think, like she said, moving forward is moving forward.
Right. So ahead of the show, I spoke to a couple of ladies at my someplace, and they said that and one of them said that she talks to her ex, okay, and the only reason she does that is because she hurt him. She cheated on him, he found out, and she had to break the relationship off, and she's with the person who she cheated on him with. And because of the guilt that she feels, and the fact that she feels like the ex has not healed and he's still hurt, she feels the need to stay in touch with him. She feels the need to connect. She's guilty. She can't just walk away. She can't just move on. So she's constantly on his WhatsApp status, watching his status, constantly on his Instagram story, constantly checking his Facebook updates. She just cannot move on. And she feels that sometimes when you leave a relationship like that, it's hard, even if you want to stay away from your ex. What do you think?
What she's doing is psychologically playing with his mind. Because if she cheated on him, maybe he may not have wanted her to leave. Because maybe he still loves her. But if you are watching his status, trying to keep contact, it may be at the back of his mind, he's still thinking that she might come back. I think the best, people say closure is important, but based on experience, my personal experience, it's just good to just end it. End it and let the person find themselves, because we break all the time and we find ourselves again. Just end it and let the person find themselves, because it's very mean and it's very wicked. I think you're doing something good, but it's very wicked to still go back and checking on you. I miss you. You have moved on. I know people think about it and say, oh, I'm just trying to be good. I'm just trying to be nice to them. I feel guilty. But it's not fair to the other person when you have moved on.
How about people who just block the ex completely? Block them off everywhere.
I mean, I believe in the no contact rule.
Okay.
So I'm definitely for that. But before I talk about that, I just want to say that I agree with Wager. I think that in this case, she's actually being very cruel. Because you cheated on him with someone. You are with that person. And because of how you feel, your guilt, you keep on reaching out to him. Are you reaching out to him because you love him, because you care about him, or because you feel guilty?
She's guilty.
And guilty is one of the strongest emotions that we have. And I think it's really cruel to be nice to someone or to appear to love someone out of guilt. She would be doing herself and him a favor if she had this conversation and said, you know what, this is what I did. I'm really sorry. I pray that you can forgive me. And then she moves on. Because the truth is that you have moved on. And the thing is that we hurt people and people hurt us. If I hurt you, the best thing that I can do is apologize and change who I am. But you are ultimately responsible for your own healing. And so therefore, yes, I have been hurt, but I am responsible for myself. Therefore, I will not accept your feelings of pity or whatever it is. I will take responsibility for the fact that I may have seen the red flags, that you were cheating. I may have seen that you didn't like me enough, but I didn't love myself enough to realize. I may have to accept that it was obvious that you didn't want this and I pushed for it. And at some point I must be able to say, you know what? This person does not want me in this way. It doesn't reduce my value. It doesn't change who I am. But I need to heal, one, for myself, and two, because there is someone out there for me. So to Na's friend, as much as you feel the guilt and all of that, I hope that you can apologize and move on and leave him alone. Leave him alone so that he can move on. And to this guy, you owe it to yourself to do what you need to do to heal. So that's one thing.
Okay.
The second thing is the blocking thing. So there's, about the no contact rule. You break up with someone and you completely block them. Social media, phone calls. It's not just about blocking them. It's about not stalking them as well. So you can't block them on phone calls and WhatsApp and be on their Instagram page the whole day. You know what I mean? It's completely counterintuitive. So you cannot do that. So when you block, you're not blocking because you are being mean to them. You're blocking because you're protecting your energy. And when you're in a relationship, the kinds of hormones and the things that your brains emit are the kinds of things that you emit when you're addicted to something.
Okay.
So, for example, I am with you and I am addicted to you. In my brain, I am addicted to you. Now, suddenly we've broken up. Now, we all know that the quickest way to get over addiction is cold turkey. So you break it off.
Sorry, what's cold turkey?
Cold turkey is when so if, let's say you're a cocaine, let's say if you're a cocaine addict, you completely go off drugs, completely. So most of the time they'll lock them in a room and they'll go through all the hallucinations and all of those things, and then they come out of it, their systems are cleansed, and then that's it. Then you go through the rehab and the cognitive behavioral therapy and all of that.
It has nothing to do with eating turkey.
No, cold turkey has nothing. So there's that. So with no contact, that's what you're affording the brain time to sort of flush this person out of your system. The other thing apparently that cold turkey does is that it gives you perspective. Because as long as you're holding on to this person that you've broken up with, you can't take a step back and see them for who they are. And the thing is, when we break up with people, we tend to remember the good. And we tend to make it ideal, and we look back with longing. But when you take a step back and time passes and you go through the missing and the longing, then you begin to see, okay, fine, maybe this was not good for me, this was not good for me, this was not good for me. They're not always in your space. So I agree with the no contact thing. I think if you want to block, my point is that do whatever you need to do to get over the distance.
No, some people feel that blocking them really suggests that you're not over them.
I do not believe in blocking. I do not not believe you, because healing is a process. Healing is not cold turkey. From
You
my
know-
opinion,
you know why I block people,
Healing is
Rachel?
healing is a process.
Okay.
It takes some time. And when you block the person, when you are well, then are you going to unblock the person? Blocking the person just seems it can be a bit childish, in my opinion.
Okay, I need you to hold the thought, and let's go and talk to some of our listeners on the streets of Accra who answer this question. Is talking to your ex a bad move? Let's take a listen.
But if you break my heart, I go there to your father.
Whatever the case may be, I think there's no one size fits all. I have an ex that I still talk to. I have an ex that I do not talk to. So it depends on the circumstances and the conditions surrounding your breakup, I guess. But I don't think it's a big deal. I feel like I have my head game on. You know, I know what I want and what I do not want. So for me, it's as simple as that. If I want to talk to you, I'm talking to you about certain things, not about everything, and I'm not getting too close.
Taking a decision not to speak to your ex is childish. I mean, we are all adults, and no matter how hard someone has hurt you, I feel that you should find a place in your heart to forgive the person. You may never know where help will come from one day. Just have a friendly relationship with them. You don't necessarily need to be all over them and, you chatting to the extent that it becomes a little bit emotional and intimate. But, there should be some distance. You don't go deeper when you know you cannot stand it.
It all depends on the individual. But from experience, if you really love her, then I'm telling you, you can never be friends with your ex. Because by the time you guys break up, like you are so much peeved, or like my ex kept messaging me, I had to eventually block him everywhere on this earth, because anytime he messages me, it just brings anger and insults. Now I know that he's not the devil, so at least he's got to breathe. So I have to just keep him away if he doesn't want to go away.
Okay, blocked him everywhere on this earth. Wow, everywhere on this earth. Now that's serious. Anywhere. That's your disciple. Your disciple right there. Everywhere on this earth. Which, before we went for that vox pop,
I was saying that healing is a process. Blocking them on social media for me can be a bit
much.
It's a bit much. I know it's more painful. It's painful to watch them live their happy lives, be in their new relationships, and very excited. But healing is a process. And when you have dated so many people and you come to some time in life and you realize that all the people that you actually broke up with later on, eventually you found reasons, you saw that it was actually good. You would wait, and it's good to see them happy. Because there's this thing that they say that when you block, you shouldn't be blocking people on social media, because when God decides to bless you,
they can't see it.
So you have
to. I don't. Whether they see it or not.
No. As I said, emotional healing is a process. Mm-hmm. You can't do with it blocking them and then not seeing them again, because you are detaching yourself immediately, and that may be painful when you can't at least say hi or hello at some point, because there's no way you can let somebody go. You can honestly let somebody go and not reach out at least once in a while, because it actually does help with your healing. It's emotions. Emotions is not like addiction of some time. It's the way you feel. So I do not agree. The way you feel can change. The way you feel changes.
Rachel, that statement is wrong.
Yeah, that
statement is wrong. Emotions and addictions. Emotions are not separate from addictions, because they're all generated by our brain chemicals.
I'm talking about love.
Emotions are from the heart.
I'm talking about love.
The heart is an organ which has absolutely no neurons.
No, I'm talking about
capacity.
Okay. So we're not talking biology.
No,
I mean,
I'm talking about emotional love.
Yes, let's talk reality.
It comes from the
devoid of science.
See,
there is addiction because you've done something over and over and over again. And after some time, you're just addicted. You can't stop.
No.
And then there is falling in love with someone.
Falling in love is all about brain chemicals. chemicals. Are you serious? Like, it's completely a brain
Okay,
chemical.
we
So
don't
the
know
heart
this.
plays no role.
Now, which
don't
heart?
even-
The physical heart.
The
which
brain is also an organ, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but the brain has the capacity to have neurons and the all those.
Now we don't have any
I don't believe you
concrete
anymore.
evidence to
Yes,
support
exactly.
this.
I don't believe you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And you know, as we
Don't
are-
say wait. Let's be serious
Yes,
for a
sorry.
second. I'm not talking like from the air.
Yes.
I'm talking about research and I'm talking about science. So I get that you can say that, okay, you're not aware of this, but to say there's no evidence supporting it is not exactly the best thing, because I
Okay.
can give you the studies and show you how emotions are mapped out in the brain, and that is actually what it is.
So you're saying that there's scientific study to show that emotions and addictions are
From the brain.
are similar.
The heart is an organ which pumps blood. It has nothing to do with our emotions.
But I
We
don't know
use
if the
heart-
healing is the same. I can't tell if the healing is the same. All I know is that for emotional healing, it's a process, it's a time. And you need to be able to feel free and not to push people out of your life drastically to move on.
Okay,
this
so
is how-
you'd rather block them one WhatsApp or one social media at a time?
I
No,
wouldn't
she
block them
doesn't
at
believe in
all.
blocking
I
them.
don't
Okay,
believe in
so you would
blocking
like
them.
to see them.
I wouldn't like to see them, but it's life, it's the world. You would see them.
Now, for example,
Okay.
if you have surgery, or let's say you're very sick or something like that, and you're in the hospital, and your immune system is compromised, you're put in a room, and maybe you're quarantined, so that you can build your immune system up, because your immune system is not at a level where it can fight diseases normally.
Okay.
I am saying that, and I'm likening this to the emotional pain from breaking up with someone. You cannot think when you've broken up with someone that you love that you're functioning optimally, that the things that you might be able to deal with on a regular day, you can deal with. And so for me, I think protecting yourself so that you can get stronger is important. The same way that you are quarantined for a while so that your immune system can rebuild. And then when your immune system is back to functioning normal, hit me with anything, I am kind of stronger inside. I've broken my leg. So that's why if you break your leg, it's in a cast for a while. It is protected. It does not move.
Okay,
When you take off the
I
cast,
really
it
appreciate
starts
your
again.
scientific and health and biology examples, but I'm really struggling to liking it properly with emotional
Now, the Bible says that.
issues and
Wait, okay, so
feelings
let's
and
go to-
relationships
Wait,
and love.
Let's go to the
It's
Bible.
relevant.
Wait,
Okay.
I
The
knew
Bible
you can
says that wisdom is the principal thing.
Yes.
Therefore, get wisdom.
Yes.
And in all thy getting, get understanding. Now, there are some things that you cannot get over unless you understand how they work, how they affect you, and why you are the way you are. For example, I broke up with someone. And then I went into my hole. I'm looking into myself. I discovered, I'm going to try not make this into a lecture.
Yeah.
I discovered that there's this thing called attachment theory. And I was able to find out how I attach based on how I was parented. And that kind of understanding opened me up so that I could see why I felt the way I did, why I felt flustered, why I felt fear, why I felt abandonment. And in discovering all of those things, it helped the healing because I understood. So many times we expect that, time will heal, I'll just be fine. But after you've taken a few hits in life, when you understand certain things and certain processes, it helps you and it facilitates the healing. Do you
Okay.
see what I mean? So
Okay.
I'm not being technical and all of that. I just
so,
feel like
so back to your analogy about quarantines and casts and all of that. You see, in situations like that, you really cannot help it. You can't get up and break out of quarantine. You can't hit your leg against the wall and
that's
take
the
out the
thing,
cast.
though. You can't
But
behave
when
like you
it
can't
comes
take
to
responsibility
yes,
for
but when
yourself.
it comes to emotional attachments and in our age, social media and how it affects relationships, you can block someone, but after you block them, okay, and you, like you said, because you are not over them. That's why you block them, so you can get over them or stop seeing them. But blocking them while you're not over them will probably make you more curious or want to know or even miss
going on.
And because blocking is not so difficult. I mean, you just you can.
Why are we having this conversation as if we don't have control of our emotions? No, this is something that women do. We do this to ourselves and we do it to other women.
Okay.
Which is why there are so many books on women taking control of our emotions. We cannot behave and live as if we are not in charge of our emotions. You are curious about what? The boy broke your heart. What exactly is it that you are curious about?
Not all relationships end because of a
but now what exactly
heart.
is it that you are curious about? Okay, the girl broke your heart. The girl left you. She said she doesn't love you anymore. She wants to move on. She wants something better for her life. So what are you curious about? How is your curiosity going to help?
Because this is a person who's been in your life for a long time.
Who you love.
You can't just switch off.
You can.
Then you don't need to block them.
You don't need to block them
because you can just switch off your mind.
Switching off and you're not giving them
for me,
access.
blocking them is a bit unnecessary because you have friends. They'll post pictures of them. Why are you going to block them?
Why would your friends post pictures of your ex?
What do you mean, not your friends? You have mutual friends. If you were in a relationship, you had some mutual friends.
So unfriend them too.
Sorry.
So why don't you go off social media yourself?
Yeah,
why don't you go off social media yourself?
Sometimes.
So why do you have to block somebody?
Why shouldn't I?
I do. I have seen it a lot. Like they advise that when you are in a relationship with somebody, you should block them. Like block them and go and find God or go and find yourself. I agree with Enima when she says that, we all grew up differently. So when you break up with somebody or somebody has done something or you decided to split apart, you would go back into yourself and find out why this thing hurt you, why their behavior hurt you,
why you did them on social media.
No, you don't have to throw them on social media. Why you did what you did. And that is the healing process. The healing process is understanding what happened and how it affected you and how you are going to move on from that. But I don't know why are we even talking about blocking?
Because in today's age, social media plays a big role.
I have tried blocking.
In getting
I have tried blocking.
Okay.
I feel it doesn't work. It's extremely unnecessary.
What's your experience?
What's my experience? Nah. I don't like talking about my experiences. For me, it was just like one day. Like, we actually hadn't even broken up, so I was just like, this is not going to happen to me, and I just blocked the person on all social, and I even blocked the person on call. Then I sat back and I thought about it. I'm like, this is not my first relationship, this is not my second relationship, and how did I heal from the first and the second? And how did I move on?
Are you healed from the first?
No, how did I heal from the first? Let me explain. How did I heal from the first and the second?
Are you healed?
And this third, is it going to be I'm blocking you and that's it? And for me, it doesn't work that way. As I said before, healing is a process and everybody has their way of healing. If blocking is good for you, go ahead to block. But for me, and I don't know how it helps, but why don't you go off social media? I had a friend who was not on social media for a year. She wasn't even on WhatsApp. She was just on text message because she was helping herself. So why don't you rather go off social media than blocking somebody? Then eventually, when you are okay, you go and friend the person again. I feel it's just there are other ways to do it.
Is that what you think? That when you feel better, you should come back and unblock them?
That it's important to know what works for you.
Yes.
So if for wager not blocking this person works, and you think it works for you, then fine. If you're like me and you need to block
you're just
them
cold
and not see the but I'm actually the opposite. The most painful thing is when I am happily scrolling through my Instagram, enjoying things people are doing, then boom, your face
vacation.
I'm like the face pops up. I'm like,
I know. For me, I just pray. I just like I just say, God, give me the strength and move on.
Okay,
that's what I do.
We can't do that. So, my point is that do what works for you, but at the core of it, put your healing at the top.
Okay.
Yes. So it's really just do what works for you.
And your emotions come from the brain, so it's all brain work. Anymore. Thanks for that education today. Interesting discussion now. I totally agree with the lady with the scientific analogies. I don't know her name. Her name is Eniwa Enim Ado. And she goes on to say, block them and move on. For me, if we break up, I don't know you, full stop. I need space to heal. Cutting all communications helps me do that. And that's from Nora, texting us, I think, from Illinois. Yeah. Okay. All right. It is unhealthy to be friends with your ex. Old flames rekindles love. Nah, truly, these things ain't that much a bother for guys. We are all emotional beings, but women tend to wear their hearts on their sleeves. I'm a
That's how we
dude.
are created.
And trust me, I wouldn't mind being friends with my ex. But the point is, it complicates things. In the long run, the chemistry will mix up. And these ladies tend to be booty calls rather than friends. And the drama erupts. And that's from Pa George, texting from somewhere. Regards to everyone at somewhere. Okay, now I don't think it's wrong to stay in touch with your ex. This should not be like the kind of friend you meet or talk with often. This is the type of friend you drop a message to during occasions like birthdays. We were once friends. We couldn't be together. It doesn't make us enemies. And that's from Ray. All right, Ray, thank you for sending that in. Good evening, Na, and you're very knowledgeable girls. I have a peculiar story. My girlfriend, whom I have a child with, cheated on me with a supposed friend who offered to help solve a very serious problem between my mom and herself. I did everything possible to solve the problem and later realized that she was not really interested in the resolution. Before I could say jack, she started sleeping with this supposed friend of mine and she's living with him as we speak. Now, I stopped talking to my mom. I fought with my brothers. I lost my job. I broke fronts with my in-laws. I practically left my whole world. Practically left my whole world crumbling down. I was so depressed. I almost killed myself. But for the timely intervention of a God-sent woman. Initially, she was making frantic efforts to maintain contact with me, but I completely blocked her. I saw her as very cruel, especially as she's living with a guy and with my son. My son just crossed...
just across the street.
Just across the street. Oh, goodness. I still haven't healed completely after 1 year. But if you ask me, I think breaking communication with her completely helped me to gradually start rediscovering myself. Wow. Emmanuel from Ngwa. Wow. We wish you all the best with that. Okay. Now, I like your show very much. I really enjoyed it. I agree with your guest. This evening. They're on point. And that's from Sosu, from Anthony. Wait. Sosu Anthony. Texting us from Tema. Thank you so much, Sosu, for sending that in. Very good discussion. I will allow my wife...
I will never...
Wait, where are you?
I will never allow...
I'll never allow my wife to keep having conversations with my ex. Because even if their breakup didn't come in a goodwill, there's still something both of them will be reminiscing of. And same applies to me. And that's from Ajiman Joseph, Community 9. Tema, I think we can take some calls now. Call us on 0302216541. That's the number to call us on. 0302216541. Share your thoughts with us and let us know especially what you think about blocking. I think I'm getting a lot of messages about that. Enimwa, Samson Ladi says Enimwa is on fire. She's even breathless. Enimwa is supercharged.
No, now you know,
firing breathlessly like that.
No, I've seen so many women stuck on a man for years and years, and it becomes a cycle of we're together, then we're apart, and we're together, then we're apart, and by the time you realize you've wasted so much time on one guy who's not worth it. So unless communication is absolutely vital for me and important, the best thing to do is just let it go, you know?
Okay, Ajwa is calling us from Cantonment. Hello, Ajwa.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. What are your thoughts?
I think that there isn't a universal rule when it comes to having a relationship with your ex and keeping in touch with your ex. I mean, what works for everyone is different. For some people, there was probably a friendship before the relationship. So depending on how things ended and going forward, how they think they can cope, they can maintain a relationship. But then if there isn't much to it, and sometimes people really don't build a friendship before the relationship, I mean, it's okay for people to just walk away from circumstances like that. But there isn't much to it, I believe. And there isn't a universal rule. That is what I strongly believe. What works for everyone is different. For some people, you need to block them. And even with blocking your exes, sometimes you block them for just a short period. And when you are through, like, you know you are okay in a good place, you can maintain a friendship. But when you don't feel really healed, and sometimes you think you're healed, but you don't even need to be in touch with the person. And that's okay. I mean, there isn't a universal rule. When it comes to emotions, we feel things differently. Things work differently for people. So that's just the way people handle their exes. And that's how it should be, depending on what it is for you. That's what I think.
All right, Ajua, thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate the call. I've got Samson now from Domi. Hello, Samson.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening. What are your thoughts?
I think your program is helping some of us this evening. For me, I broke up, I think, some 4 or 5 months ago, and I don't intend to block her. I am rather thinking of going back because after 4 months, I've realized that I really love her so much.
Is that right?
Yes, due to some issues we had, actually, it was about finances, because at that time we were preparing to get married, and so we had different views on how to manage our finances and how to support each other. So we realized that we were not compatible, and we broke up. But after some time, I think that I want her back. And so I'm planning how to actually reconnect again. Even though we are on social media, she always would come to WhatsApp to watch my status every time I put anything there. And I also do. Sometimes I try to avoid watching her, but then she would.
Why don't you block her so you don't have to? You don't have to go and watch her.
I don't want to block her because I think I still have some love for her. I still love her. Yeah. So right now,
that's the problem, isn't it?
Going back and reconnecting. Some 2 months ago, I called her to see if we can reconnect. We can start a relationship. But then she actually didn't agree to that. She was so harsh on phone and all that. So I decided not to call her again at all. I was also angry. But yesterday, I tried to chip in a call, and she was so calm. She responded well. Yeah. And so tonight, I want to call again, but I want to enjoy your program before calling. So you guys told me, what should be the conversation?
Samson, there should be no conversation. It's okay.
Come on, he's in love with the girl.
There should be no conversation. It's okay.
He's saying that he still loves her.
Yeah, but does she love him? Does she?
Her reception was better this time when he called.
Yeah, but was it out of pity, compassion, or was it out of love?
Well, if she didn't want to be with him, I'm sure she would have blocked him.
Well, maybe she feels guilty, so she hasn't.
Maybe
she's like Rachel.
Maybe she'll call into the show. All right, Ajiman Joseph is on the line from Tema Community 9. Hello, Joseph.
Yeah, madam, good evening.
Good evening, master.
Yeah, sometimes when I listen to radio and such issues are hitting me, it looks as if I have to pay for listening to radio. You know
I don't understand.
Right now, before I will even call, my ex is WhatsApping me.
What was she saying?
Now, it has been about 3 days ago she started WhatsApping me, and she's telling me that she wants to be with me.
Do you want to be with her?
Oh, madam, it will be a suicide because the lady is married with an immigration person, and when the man goes to night, then she puts on the kid, me, and she's telling me that we should have sex on the phone. Madam, this lady is asking for pornographic videos as she send it to her. She's telling me that she wants to come down from Northern region. She wanted to come using a certain program as an excuse, come and be with me for some days, probably 1 week. And she's telling me that she's missing my thing. Madam, it's very serious. Very, very, very serious.
Okay.
Joseph, you need to block her. Do you understand? This one that you need to block her. Because listen, sleeping with another man's wife is a sin. it is a sin. Now it's going into adults. So just, you need to block her. Send her a text. Send her a nice text. It's been wonderful knowing you. I pray that the goodness of God will continue to follow you and fill you with joy and peace, but I don't feel like I can be in your life any longer. And then block her.
All right. Ben is calling from Circle. I don't know what to say. Ben is on the line from Circle. Hello, Ben.
Hi, good evening.
Hello, Ben.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. You're live.
Good. All right. I just want to make a little contribution.
Okay, your connection is really bad. I'll be grateful if you could reposition yourself and call back. I'll read some messages now. Where was that message? Okay, it's gone.
The blocker.
Yeah, so someone said, now block her till you die. That's from Gweda Estates with no lights. Yes, yeah. Someone also said, now if you break up with your ex, can you add them to a broadcast group? I saw that message earlier. I mean, really, can you add your ex to your broadcast list on WhatsApp? AD, stop being mischievous. Okay, more messages coming in. Hello, Na. I just wanted to see the fine face behind Inimwa Inimado, and I just did. She's really on fire.
Papa.
Okay, there's no reason why he or she is. There's a reason why he or she is an ex.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, let the ex remain the ex. Okay. Hi, now, great radio discussion in the studio. I can see Enimwa is in charge. I'm listening to you through the Star Phone app. That's from Anthony, texting us from La Paz. We appreciate that. Thank you so much for sending your message in. More messages coming in. All right. This one says, hello, Na. I want to know how to handle a situation like this. I once dated a lady for 6 months. She was sort of dating me in the dark. So I felt she didn't really want me. So I advised myself and I broke up with her. It has been more than a year and she suddenly wants me back so bad. She has been on me for a while now. Honestly, it's very terrible. I literally had to lie to her about getting married in November this year. And I still haven't had it easy. Anywhere. Block.
No, for me, she's gone. She didn't get anybody better, so she has come back.
All right.
So then it's up to you to decide whether you'll take her back or not.
I was thinking you were going to suggest he builds a block factory for her. All right. Ivy says, when you go out with somebody, usually your friends before going out. If you break up, you should quit communicating for a while. After you're healed, you can go back to being friends. I've tried it and it works. And that's from Ivy. All right, Ivy. Thank you for sending that in. I think that's all time will allow us to read.
I will block him till.
What is that?
From Mercy. Good evening. A woman after my own heart.
Mercy from Banana Inn. Yeah, I'll block him till. Okay.
Till.
Interesting. Kobe is calling from Kokomlemle. Hello, Kobe.
Hi, Na.
Hi, you're live.
Yep. Okay, so I think a lot of people live in denial. They don't know that how they can deal with a breakup after they break up. So someone says, well, I can be friends with you after I break up. And then later on, they start developing feelings for you right after that. You know, people need to know themselves and know whether I can be friends with you after I've broken up with you. It doesn't just work like that. It's not a clear-cut thing that, hey, we've broken up and I am cool. We can be friends. When you know for sure that you still have feelings for the person, it doesn't work. Figure out yourself. I cannot be friends with you because I still have feelings with you. Move on. Cut off all communication. Even if it is forever, just cut it off. Unless maybe you know that I think women are more susceptible to cutting people off or continuing a friendship than men. As for men, Charlie, the feelings, even if it's not there, but that booty call is still there. We'll still feel like we are, quote unquote, entitled to you as that. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Women can control that. They can say, I want to be friends with you, and then that's it. Not all of them, though. If you know you are not that person who's that self-disciplined, don't even try it. Because you later on find out that, hey, you've gotten feelings for the person and you're falling back for the person when you're already in another relationship. And it's bad.
All right, Dr. Love. Kobe, thank you so much for calling. We appreciate your contribution. Okay, so there's a message here to all you blockers. Muting is actually better than blocking.
Exactly.
You don't have to block the person. You can just mute it.
Mute them.
Good conversation.
Mute
Shouts
them.
to the ladies.
But sure, when you mute, if like I've muted all my groups, but when I open my WhatsApp, like I don't want to see you. I don't want a reminder that you exist.
So on Instagram, for example, you can mute a person.
Yeah,
and you don't see
I've
their
muted
posts.
several people on Instagram,
Challenge,
and I don't see
if you're
anything
muting
about
them,
them.
block it.
Okay, I'll take a final word, Switcher.
Well, for me, it's not about blocking. I think if you're in a relationship and you've moved on and you're in another relationship, just leave the old to the old. Because the new relationship, you're trying to protect somebody. You're trying to start something new with somebody. So if you are in a new relationship, just leave the old. And if you are with somebody who does not want to stop talking to their ex and wants to continue talking to their ex, and still wants to be with you, I think you should read the signs, because moving forward is leaving behind the old. And if they don't want to leave behind the old because of the idea that they are still friends and they've been friends for a long time, I think you should try and protect yourself and move forward. It's not advisable to be in a relationship with somebody who is still in connection with their ex. That's fine.
Thank you, Wecha, for keeping a straight face through that.
I should give my final
Anymore,
comment.
yes.
You know, the Bible said at some point that some of these don't go out except by prayer and fasting. Some too go out by prayer, and some too go out by different things. I think that every relationship is different.
Yeah.
I would say that there's only one person who heals, and that's God.
That's God.
And so for every relationship that ends, my thing would be go to God. Let him give you a custom-made plan on how to deal with it.
Okay.
And trust him for your healing, and trust that he's the lover of your soul. He's the beginning and the end of everything. Because when it comes to emotions, Charlie, we can talk and talk, but you can talk and diss your ex, and when you go and lie down in your bed, and your heart wants him, and those are the moments when
the heart wants what it wants.
You just turn to God and you're like, Father, I need you to get me through this, and I need us to find a way to. So that's what I would say.
All right, anymore.
Yeah. And now I am collecting offering. Because, this kind of
that was a tight sermon.
This kind of sermon.
So for all of you wondering what to do with your ex, like anyone said, go to God and seek His face, and also you can build a blog factory for them on social media.
Please feel free to call me, text me.
This has been Strong and Sassy on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Na Ashoko. I've been your host. We'll be back on your radio next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Until then, enjoy the rest of our shows. Good night.